What's going on, people? We are here with part 13 of Happy Birthday, Planet Earth, the guided co-creation with Barbara Marx Hubbard. Now, as I've stated before, I'm not a religious man, but I understand the message in this book. And I understand we're at the tip of the tipping point, as said by Barbara herself, which basically means we can go one of two ways. We can go north or we can go south. And we don't want to go any further south because the world is pretty far south at the moment. But the pendulum is swinging back in our favour, and I just want people to understand that better times are coming. The message in this book directs us toward those better times. Now let's get into it, shall we? Where do we get up to? Okay. Now we try to transcend ourselves, to be perfect as our Father in heaven is perfect. But we still had the animal bodies. Our bodies hungered and thirsted, desired and conquered, killed and were killed, lusted and possessed. Nevertheless, something in us would not totally accommodate to the animal behavior. We struggled to overcome it. With passion, we tried to pacify ourselves and live at peace on earth. In so doing, we occasionally behaved even worse than animals. The intellect, mingling with animal emotions, created horrendous crimes against life, tortures, wars, incarcerations, inquisitions, deaths by the millions. O humanity, how painful is our terrestrial past. Now, at last, we are on the verge of transcending the limits of the animal condition by changing our bodies from perishable to imperishable, leaving this earth alive and aligning our wills with the will of the Creator. We are on the verge of doing what Jesus did through the harmonious use of the collective capacities of the whole planetary body politic. We will not transcend for the next phase of evolution as individuals, separate and alone. For collective salvation, we need the collective capacities of humankind. Thus, the next step of evolution is not the ascension of individuals after death, leaving the corruptible body to return to dust. The next step of evolution is the transformation of individuals through changing the body, as Jesus demonstrated, leaving no remains on earth. We shall be free of the mortal condition. It was an evolutionary phase, like single-celled life. When the phase passes, we shall be free to face the next set of challenges, the next emancipation of potential, until the universe is alive with consciousness that we are at one with God, inheritors of the whole creation. Chapter 8. Will you be at the party? Titus 1. For there are many unruly and vain talkers and deceivers, especially they of the circumcision, whose mouths must be stopped, who subvert whole houses, teaching things which they ought not, for filthy lucre's sake. This witness is true. Wherefore rebuke them sharply, that they may be sound in faith. The time for rebuke is over. The selection process that separates the wheat from the chaff, the sheep from the goats, the self-elected from the self-rejected, is not of human origin. We are not the judge of one another. We are not the jury. We merely choose for ourselves. The selection process has been in operation since the universe began. It is the whole-making mechanism that selects those particles capable of uniting with other particles, thus making whole systems greater than the sum of their parts. We are selected for our capacity to synergize, to become whole enough to enter into larger, more complex wholes, to carry out the intentionality of the evolutionary process to attain ever greater freedom, consciousness, and union with the God force. The evolutionary selection process is God in the role of editor of his own creation. We no longer need accept the responsibility which Paul undertook in stopping the mouths of the unruly talkers and deceivers. Although they are still in our midst, we are not responsible for their behavior. This is because we are now entering the period of the quantum instant. The pressure of God's selection mechanism is intensifying. Those who are self-rejecting, choosing not to fulfill their own potential, not to nurture the growth of the natural Christ within, are under sufficient pressure from the whole system. The system's vengeance is sufficient to alert them to their condition. God does not need our help in alerting people to their faults. The selection process is signaling each of us by means of pain and stress. Whenever one of us feels distressed, it is a signal that we are not nurturing the Christ within. The stress signal is an evolutionary helper alerting us to realign, to pacify our egos, to calm our childish emotions, to remember we are the hires of God. We need not rebuke each other for forgetting. We can help each other remember. We can best help others by helping ourselves and thereby demonstrating the state of being of a natural Christ. That state is so attractive, so joyful, that it gives people a positive shock, a charge of energy to activate their own evolutionary potential. If others do not respond to their own inner growth, they are not meant to evolve. That is the impersonal justice in the whole system. If you do not choose to evolve, you do not evolve. It is up to you. No one can choose for you, nor can anyone deny you the choice. Freedom is inherent in the nature of reality. Alright, we're going to stop it there, and we will return tomorrow to read out more of the co-creation with Barbara herself. Rest in peace, Barbara. Let's go.